All right, so this truck looks a little bit sad. Flat tires. So I'm gonna put some air in them. Then I'm gonna get the hood open because the hood latch is broken. Hinge is broken, kind of on this. It caused the hood to fold. A lot of these old trucks have that problem. Yeah, this truck has been worked hard. It was on the farm. So, you know, it only got maintenance when it needed it. You know, it wasn't, nothing happened because it made it look better. The guy who owned it really was a Ford guy, though. So when he did something, he would, you know, he would do it right. But it wasn't going to have a wash. You know, it wasn't like it was, it wasn't trying to look like a show truck, because it wasn't a show truck. It was a work truck. And pretty good work truck. That old 4-speed. It's got a nice low first gear, which is just what you want in the field. They would use this in the rows and areas, you know, to carry tools or bring flowers and mushrooms and stuff that they were growing back. And it was on a set of 35 mud terrains that looked pretty good. So, I mean, it was a badass truck. And I remember seeing it drive around. I sold those wheels and tires to a friend who has a really cool CJ that he was getting spruced up and needed a set of rubber, and this was just sitting in the woods. And ultimately this truck isn't going to be a 35s and 5-bolt wheels truck, so I figured, what the heck, send them down the road. Then I pulled these, what are these, 32s off of the Cherokee, put them on here, just so it has something to roll around on. The 32s still look pretty good. All right, so here's under the hood. Old Ford straight six. It's got a carb with Motorcraft tag on it, so suspect that it's been replaced at some point in its life. This truck's old, so it's probably had a whole slew of carburetors on it. First thing I noticed is that the carburetor is just about falling off. So there would have been a massive vacuum leak under there. I'm unsure if the foot in the tank is in good shape, or even if the fuel in the tank is junk. Although this old straight six would burn it, even if it is pretty bad. They don't care much about what you put in them. If I can get this truck to run, which I expect that I can, as long as it's not seized up in the past year since I looked at it last. If I can make it run, and it can move around, and I can go into the garage, I can do something cooler with it than just sitting out here. Yeah, the plug, that one's not looking so hot, but hopefully it's enough to do what we want to do. The fuel pump, if I remember right, was questionable. The truck initially would make spark, but it would not take any fuel. I got it to run on starter fluid and gasoline poured down the carb, and it would idle. I mean, not great. Massive vacuum leak. Plus, you know, all these old hoses and vacuum leaks. I mean, I'm sure that's all full of vacuum leaks everywhere, but, and there's plugs and stuff, and smog pump's been removed, and so, but just good enough for yard driving. It should be able to do it. Let's see. I do need a battery, firstly. And then I'll go get that. I got a whole bank of them charging in the basement. And what else should I need? It's got the key in it. Yeah. All right, I'll be back with a battery. All right, I got a big old battery over here. So now, make sure it's out of gear. Should be. All right, key isn't on. I'm gonna hit her with some of the good stuff, because hopefully it'll pop a little bit. I want to confirm my suspicions of no spark. Ha ha ha. Starter's not trying. Clamp on the battery's bad. I'm gonna get a new one. All right, so I'm working on putting this new clamp on there. Kind of came from another vehicle that I just scrapped before I sent it to the yard. I just did a 10-minute picking session under the hood. Pulled off anything I thought might be handy to have around. I didn't have this in mind when I yanked that, but whatever. Saves going out to the parts store right now. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be permanent, because this one is no prize, but it's better than the one that was on here. And should be good enough for this old Ford. After all, they're not overly picky. Let me get an actual wrench real quick. Not very good at the whole camera thing yet. This is probably the first time I've ever tried to film something that I'm doing, and it shows. But whatever. Yeah, so this truck was a few miles away from here on a farm, just working normal. And I know some people who used it. My cousins worked at this farm one summer when they would come out this way, and one of my cousins learned to drive stick on this. He was on the farm, and I guess the guy who owned the farm heard that this kid was unable to drive stick. I guess sent him off in this to learn. Great vehicle to learn in because you really can't mess it up. You're not gonna hurt it. And that straight six just is happy to idle, nice and low. You don't need a whole lot of RPM or finesse to make her go. It's not something very particular. So it's a good vehicle to learn on. This is not very good. Maybe it's good enough for now. Should be a good connection. All right, let's try this again. All right, good sign. Old truck will crank. Just got a little bit better of a battery terminal. All right, let's give her another shot. A little bit of the good stuff again. Kind of a lot, but that's all right. And then here we go. Okay, I'm gonna say no spark. Let me go over the plug wiring real quick, see what we find. All right, we're gonna try this again. See what happens. It's not even trying. All right, well, I've done a little more investigating in here. And this one's coming from the coil. It's corroded and pretty gnarly. The other ones all look good though. So I'm gonna say it won't cost me anything to shine that up a bit and poke her back together. This should run, I'm hoping. So let's see. All right, let's just see real quick if I can make this come back to life a little bit. Okay, here we go again. I found that on the coil, one of the connections looks pretty bad. So I'm just tweaking it a little bit to see if I can help it. Pretend it's a good connection. Just, definitely not the right way to do this, but I don't have parts on hand, so this is just the way it's going to be for now. And I want it to have to kind of push down over it. That way you know it's got a decent bite on it. Feels a little bit better. Just a little bit. Alright. Well, we're going to crank it again. Look for spark again. And see what happens. I'm going to look on this plug here. Still not seeing spark. Still not seeing spark. I'm fairly convinced there's a bad connection in here somewhere. Although it would be easier to just replace this whole mess and be done with it. But if I could at least make it run a little bit, I feel pretty good about it for now. There's just stuff around here that's unplugged, stuff that's cut, spliced, respliced, and recut. Just pretty horrible, generally. You know, it just makes you wonder what is supposed to be there, and what is someone else's sort of hack fix. Just makes it hard to tell. Yeah, this one was that guy. Started on this truck or not. All kinds of stuff like that. I really don't know. Let's try it again. No, still nothing. Okay, so I found a broken wire going into the coil, right into the plug. Broken just where you can't really see it. So I'm just putting on a connection for now. I can get a new plug, new end. The plug is still fine, it's just the end is bad, so I don't have that with me right now, but I do have some little connectors that I can just put on there for now. Make sure I got this going the right way. Okay, this one goes here. This would be much better to have the correct setup, but I don't have it, so if I can get that one out whole, perfect. I could save this plug and fix it later. Okay, try to save that plug. Once again, maybe this fixes it, maybe it doesn't, I don't know. Confidence isn't extremely high, but you never know. Broken wires are not ideal, so it certainly won't hurt. Came right off in my hand as I was wiggling the plug. All right. See if that sparks again. Ooh, it sparks. I saw it spark. All right, so that was it. That was it. Immediate change. That's great. Fix one thing, see something change. That's what I like to see. So this truck, I think will run. You heard it try. I mean, it was excited, you know. This old truck wants to live, and I didn't want to see it get scrapped. My grandfather had the same truck, red, 86. It was two-wheel drive, but it had the 4-speed. And sold it while I was young, before I was old enough to raise my hand and say, hey, keep it. So this one sort of is, I wanted it because of that, and because they're just cool trucks anyway. All right, this truck should run. This truck should run. All right, I got everything I need. Oh, she wants to run. Now I'm gonna say it's probably fuel related issue, which I'm kind of back to where I was a year and a half ago. Where it run on the, I think it might be the fuel pump. So there is gas in this, or maybe a gas water mixture at this point. I really don't know. It still smells like gas somehow. It's been in there for a year. But all right, the fuel pump is dead. There's really going to be no way around that currently. I had purchased another pump for this, but they sent me one with the incorrect map. I don't know how. It got cross-threaded. And then so much time went by, it won't be able to be returned. They're swapped out now, although they're not very expensive. Put this inside the truck. So I can fix that wiring harness later. Famous last words. This truck's always gonna have that now, probably, unless I do something really cool with it, where it gets upgrades and stuff. But for now, I'd be happy with this thing just kind of running. Run much better with gas, or if I had starter fluid that actually worked. Let's see. So that fuel pump has a direct line into this tank. This has enough gas it should run if that pump is capable of it. So let's see, if I undo the fuel in line to the carburetor and crank it, that's how you would check if the pump is discharging. It definitely, foot is definitely in the gas, 100%. So, and it still smells like actual gasoline, even though it's been in there for a year. It is non-ethanol. I don't buy any of that ethanol gas, so it should last a year, even uncovered. What am I gonna do? The really correct thing to do would be to get a fuel pump. Let's try something real quick. see. Yeah, it's got a strip. Got my Harbor Freight wrenches out here right now, which are not my favorite. They definitely are not the best. Okay. So if I crank this and I get a little gas out of it, I know that the fuel pump is working. I suspected the fuel pump wasn't working previously, but this carburetor also could be just plugged up. I don't know. So let's see. That's definitely in the gas. Let's see. Crank it again. Fuel comes out of here. It is, I mean, I feel pressure. This battery was tired in the beginning. I've had it on the trickle charger for a while, but it was an old battery. And we've done quite a bit of cranking. All right, so maybe that fuel pump could work. Let's see. I'll regroup and give it another shot later. So here's a better view of what I was working on before. You see the coil, and there's a plastic plug I put in the cab, but right here, this one was broken. It was still actually inside the plug, but the connection electrically was open, and it was not easy to tell from the outside. So I just nipped it off, and it's very simple, just crimped on an old cheapo one, just like you get at, you know, O'Reilly's or whatever. And good enough for now. The other stuff that I was working on was the cap and polishing it up. It's hard to tell what you can see from the mount over there. This gas is where the pickup's going, to the suction side of this pump. You can see where I had taken it off of the original one. Truck will probably need fuel lines, but all right. Well, I got her running a little bit. Filled the carb up, hoping that this starts pumping. I feel a little bit. This is the longest I've ever seen it run. Kind of excited about that. I've never seen her run this long. Idle's smooth, but you know, being kind of a piece of junk. This is a good old truck. Let's see, what do we need to do? That tire's flat. Mission is get it where I can pump that tire up. Okay, 75 feet of airline and 75 foot is pretty much at that valve stem. Let's see. Don't close the hood all the way. Might want four-wheel drive. Oh, it's locked. Farm truck's probably always been in four-wheel drive. Pretty gross in here. Goes to the floor. But look at it. It's idling. That is pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, we got two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. Ish. Let's see. That should be okay. Look at four-wheel drive on the dash. First gear. She responds to the throttle. Oh, come on, baby. flat tire on that one side. Power steering pump, complaining. I've never driven this truck until right now. That's cool. I'm excited about that. Smoking under the hood. Alright, no gasoline fire, just oil and shit melting off. There's that flat tire. Go get the air connection, see if we can puff up that tire a little bit, and I'll be right back. All right, so here's a walk around of the farm truck. As you can see, farm truck. It's got all the stickers. Probably leave all the farming ones. This truck had a life, and you know, it's kind of cool. It's got the good look. Even though it's rusty and whatever, it looked a lot meaner with 35s, but yeah, they make new 35s every day, so that could always get changed back. And I still have the farm plates for it. Let's see. I think it's an 86. I'll have to look at the VIN. The guy who I bought it from wasn't even really sure if it was an 85 or an 86. And interior's junk, but I got some seats from a 97 F350 I can put in there. Nice bench seat with the fold down middle, 40-20-40. That'd be good. Kind of like the patina on it, actually. You know, not everything has to be a show truck, and for a good old truck, I don't know. Underneath is not horrible. If you're from Southern California, you're laughing, and you know, but for us guys up here in the north, look at that. Look at that interference right there. That's flawless. That's flawless. You know, I don't mind the flare and the wheel arch, whatever. But, you know, the cross members aren't rotted right out of it. And back here, I remember noticing one bad spot. Frame kind of gave up where that mounts, but that doesn't bother me even a little bit. Look at the bed floor. It's got an 8.8. So, I know they had 9 inches in these, but only in the early years, so that checks out for being an 86. And it doesn't have Ford stamped on the hood. It's got a chain drive case. Yeah, this is a later bullnose for sure. And I'm sure there's some bullnose expert out here who's laughing at me right now. I mean, I'm into these old Fords, but I don't know. I don't have the every model year difference tattooed on my forearm like some guys out there, so. I like Fords and Jeeps, and I pretty much like everything, but I don't know. For an old farm truck with who knows how many miles, it's probably rolled over at least once, if not twice. I think it's pretty cool. All right, well, that's my first YouTube video, I guess. Thanks for checking it out. We'll do something cooler with this, but running is cool. Sitting over there for 2 years, that's not so cool.